Alright, today the movie is Phenomenon, released on July 3rd, 1996. Welcome to Brandon at Random Reviews, covering one unsystematically chosen movie at a time. Directed by John Turteltaub. For the cast, we have John Travolta as George Malley, Kira Sedgwick as Lace Penniman, Forrest Whitaker as Nate Hope, and Robert Duvall as Doc. For the plot synopsis, an average man in a small town develops super intelligence and telekinesis after seeing a bright light descend from the sky one night. Alright guys, let's just dive right into this motherfucking movie. So I don't know that I ever saw this whole movie before this viewing, but I remember being fascinated by the trailers on TV when John Travolta's character demonstrates his telekinetic abilities by moving a pen across a desk with his mind. I just found telekinesis very fascinating. So as I mentioned, George is an average guy working as a car mechanic in this close-knit small town in Northern California when he walks outside the bar on the night of his birthday and sees a strange combination of lights in the sky, and he slowly realizes that his once average intelligence is now heightened to unbelievable levels. He suddenly becomes unable to sleep and begins reading multiple books a day and is able to learn and retain crazy amounts of information. George also has a crush on a single mother named Lace that he always chats up and tries to win over, but she doesn't trust people because she has some sort of tragic backstory that makes her pretty much be a total asshole to him. Also, I've never heard of this name Lace before, and I had to look it up midway through the movie to figure out what the hell he was calling her. Anywho, once he really starts to tap into his new abilities, he's able to predict an earthquake but is dismissed until the earthquake actually happens, and then a professor from Berkeley comes to investigate. George begins using his amazing abilities to help people whenever he can, and it becomes clear that he's either getting more powerful or he is simply learning the extent of what he's capable of. What's interesting is that the movie sets up that George has at best average intelligence before the incident, and when the changes begin to come for him, his friends are skeptical, but they consider him a very honest and trustworthy guy, so they don't really think he's lying about it. Plus, it probably kind of helps that he can demonstrate his abilities so easily right in front of them, but Lace just stubbornly refuses to admit that George might be a good person because she doesn't want to be vulnerable around him, for fear of getting hurt, of course. This movie is pretty well paced and straightforward initially, and aside from the love story, the focus is mostly centered around watching George use his new abilities, as well as a hope to understand why it's happening to him, or what the greater purpose here is. But as much promise as this movie seemed to have early on, it really loses all of its momentum about halfway through, and just becomes very underwhelming, and the story turns into something that I really just don't care about, and I don't want to watch a movie about. Alright, on to ratings. IMDb 6.4, Letterboxd 2.9, Rotten Tomato critic score 49%, Rotten Tomato audience score 59%. Personal rating 2 out of 5 stars. Like I said, this one had a pretty compelling first half and it kept you wondering what would happen next, but all the excitement just hits a brick wall at the midway point, and they take it in a very mediocre and unfulfilling direction that really drags on till the end. Alright everyone, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day. Bye now.